Hi, I'm Suneera Madhani, and I'm a mom of two, a daughter of an immigrant, and an unlikely entrepreneur who went from scaling an idea to $1 billion business. Yes, $1 billion business. Along the way, I learned that less than 2% of female founders ever hit 1 million in revenue, and I became obsessed on a mission to change that. I believe that there is so much gatekeeping in business knowledge, and that we as female entrepreneurs should be learning from other female founders and leaders who have broken the statistics. Since I never went to CEO school, I've had to learn it all the hard way, but you shouldn't have to, because we believe that you deserve to have it all. And honestly, nothing bad happens when women make more money. Grab a seat because class is officially in session. Welcome to CEO School. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wind Down Wednesday. I'm your host, Suneera Madhani, and today I'm going to be talking about 2023. I know what you're thinking. It's October, Suneera. We still haven't closed out the end of year, and you're thinking about next year already. But honestly, Q4 is my most favorite time of the year for so many different reasons. And don't hate me if I say this, because it's not Christmas. I love Christmas, but it's not why Q4 is my favorite time. It's my favorite time because honestly, you get the last opportunity in the year to completely just annihilate your goals. It gives you that opportunity to, think about how you want next year to look as well, right? So you get this opportunity to close out the year strong. And then you also get time to reflect on ensuring that your plan is set for the following year so that you can hit the ground running. Something that really, frustrates me about just humans in general is the concept of like, I'll start on Monday, right? Or I'll start in January. And as we know and I'm not saying like we're all guilty of it. So, I'm no angel in that, but especially when it comes to business planning, I find more often than not that we're planning for the year a little too late. And you really want to hit the ground running as soon as the year starts. And so for the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to be discussing what I'm doing for closing out this year, as well as thinking about next year and how I'm putting the plans together. And I just came off of a boardroom coaching call. So for those that don't know what the boardroom is, we have, it's kind of like this, it's the VIP version of our membership model, where I have a cohort of a little under 100 women right now in the boardroom, and we meet twice monthly on Zoom. So they get a live workshop and then they get a live session with me. And it's my only way to scale my time with these women and helping them scale to the 2% club. So lots of great things in the boardroom. And then they have their own cohorts where they meet once a month, once every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on their individual cohort. So they have their own mini masterminds. And so we have the boardroom. It's a very special space, and it's specifically designed for entrepreneurs that are crossing that 100,000 in their revenue. And so, that's where we're at with the boardroom. So I was in my boardroom coaching call, and one of the questions was, hey, Suneera, I saw on your Instagram stories last week that you are currently right now already doing your 2023 planning. What does that look like? And so we were having that discussion. I thought, what a great topic for today's episode. And the first thing about 2023 planning or the planning for next year is really about, thinking about what you want this next year to look like. And I really want you to think about it not just based on revenue or your org, but really also on your energy. And it's so important to have a plan in place first and foremost. So first and foremost, it's really about just create a simple spreadsheet, a simple plan that shows here is what I'd like to accomplish for next year, and specifically creating what we call an AOP, an annual operating plan. So every single business should have an annual operating plan, which is kind of like the Bible for the organization for the year. It has the right forecasting, the right numbers for your business, your revenue projections, your cost projections, all the way down to the product level. And at the end, you have your net profit or your output of, how your business is going to perform. But creating an AOP can be overwhelming. right? I mean, I've done it for the last 10 years, and I could tell you every year it's definitely this like giant overwhelming task, but it doesn't have to be. And in the boardroom, we were discussing like, how do you even get started on creating your annual operating plan? And so my first tip is for you to get your books in order. And so it's important for, if you want to know where you're going, it's also important to understand where you've been so that you can create a plan that's based on historics, right? That's based on stuff that you've done. And don't worry, for all the new entrepreneurs in the room that are listening to this episode, if you haven't been in business for more than a year and you don't have historics, you can still create an annual operating plan based on your industry, based on your gut as well. And so that's where I would start if you're a new entrepreneur. But if you are a scaling entrepreneur, take a look at your history. So first and foremost, this year, we're in October now. You've got 10 months of hopefully some data on what did you do as a company, right? Revenue, what were your costs this year? What did you spend in overhead? What did you spend in payroll? What were the biggest opportunities that you had? And what I like to do is go to my bookkeeper. So I'd start by going to whoever does your accounting and your finances, and that could be you today, and asking for your 2022 P&L, your profit and loss statement, and understanding, having them go through where your cost centers are as well as where the revenue is coming in from. So in simple layman's terms, what are you bringing in and what's going out? Then on step 2, what I like to do is think about it by product. So not just having a blended, here's where revenue came in, but really thinking about it based on your offers or your product line or your services, so that it gives you a real feel for, hey, I did X amount of revenue coming in through this product. And honestly, this was a huge success for us in the year. And when I look at my cost centers, this is such great margin. Or it could tell you things that are the complete opposite. Man, we did all of this revenue in this product, but man, look at our operating expenses and all that energy that we put in to go get that revenue. Whereas we have this small opportunity here where we didn't do so much revenue on this product, but the margins were great. The energy was fantastic. Like, how can I accelerate more of that product? So what your finances should tell you, and what I think that I've learned so like over the last 10 years of being an entrepreneur, is that your finances should tell a story, right? Your finances should tell a story. And when you actually take a look at your profit and loss statement and you break it down in a way that's so simple, right? And don't be overwhelmed by the numbers. Look for the themes, look for the story. And you can rely on experts around you to help you through that. But it does not have to be this huge, daunting process. But all you need is a little bit of data from this year to say, by product, here's how we did. And so based on that, you have a good sense of where you can go, right? So that's how I think about the next year's planning. And you want to put together a plan in place that not only, it's not about just like circling everything, like we're going to grow it by 20%. No, right? That's not how I expect you at CEO school to be building your 2023 plan. I expect you to go through and measure the success by product, right? Based on how much energy you put in, based on what your customers are saying about it, based on how you feel. Like, is that a product that you want to scale, right? And what is the opportunity to scale that product? Because you might be hitting a point where you might be you maximize that scale, or there could be so much more opportunity for you to pour into. But sitting down and going through the revenue items by product and then by energy will help you decide what your 2023 could look like. And then, of course, part 2 is knowing what your goals are, right? For next year, do you want more freedom of dollar? Are you looking to make more money? Are you looking for more freedom of time, right? Are you looking to maybe take more things off of your plate and you're willing to take a little bit less profit, but you want to have more time back, right? And maybe it's both, right? So sitting down and having a retrospective of this year is also a crucial part of your planning process. And in any retrospective, we're sitting back and we're looking back upon this last year and thinking about, what did we love, right? What did we truly enjoy? What did we absolutely hate? Like, what was something that you were like, I never want to do that conference again, or that project again, or that, shipping out during, that Memorial Day sale again. So whatever that looks like for you, it's so important for you to do that retrospective And you can do that first as yourself as CEO, but it's also important for you to incorporate your team in the planning process as well. But I would sit down first to really understand your retrospective and then what your goals are for next year as CEO, as a company. Because then you can think about your energy levels, and once you have your plan set in place of, hey, I'd love to um, increase my revenue this year by 30%. Okay, then how are we going to get there? Right? Based on that plan. And then you can incorporate your team once kind of you have your high level goals set to bring into the team and say, here is what I believe our goals should be. How do they feel about those goals? Right? How is their energy? Does their energy also match the products and offerings and the launch cycles or the sales or the systems that do we have the right structure in place to support that growth? And you can get a lot of that from your team as well. So it's so important for you to bring your team in at some point on this planning process. And if you're a solopreneur, you can still do this. You are the team, right? And so it is important for you to kind of go through this to understand, one, based on historic, and then based on where you want to go. And this is a process that I try to do like a large component of it every year, including also my org chart at the end of the year. So it's also important to think about your team this year, right? So thinking about what were the areas that, you could invest in for growth from a team perspective. What are areas that, the company is lacking, that if you had this resource in the company that could really catapult and scale your growth? Or when it comes to your time, perhaps you're spending so much time on, customer onboarding. Is there a way for you to take this off of your plate through either a person, but even through maybe automations or tools that you can invest in? So it's so critical for you to take the time to really start thinking about next year and hit the ground running. And I know we're only in October, but I've already started my planning process. And today our boardroom members already started their planning process. And I'd love to actually invite you guys for a workshop. So at the end of our session, we decided that we were going to host a live workshop. I only get to do 3 workshops a year. That's all my schedule allows because it has to be on the weekends. And so December 2nd through 4th, I'm going to host a workshop in Orlando, and it's going to be a 2-day intensive for your 2023 plans. And I hope you guys can make it and can come in person, and it'll be classroom style where you'll bring in, so there'll be pre-work for you to do, and there's an application for you to apply to come to the workshop. So all of that will be linked into the show notes. If you're interested, send me a DM or go to the show notes for the link. But I'd love for you to come. We're going to do some pre-work where you come in with that, what are the historics of the business this last year, the year before, and then you're going to leave with your, clear in mind of your customer journey, your 2023 plan, your org chart, the KPIs that you need for your organization, and like a tangible plan of success so that you can hit the ground running come January, and your team is excited to hit that plan as well. So I hope you join me in that workshop, and DM me. Let me know if you're interested in coming. The next workshop won't be until the March timeframe. So this is your opportunity to be in the room with me and with our team. So I'm really excited for that. And honestly, this is how I get three times a year with all of you. And so this is where I want to spend my energy for this last workshop for the year. And so I hope you come join me. But I hope you enjoyed today's just quick episode on 2023 planning. And I hope it motivates you today to think about the future, right? As a person who, is always going, and there's so much happening as CEO. I mean, you've got a million things on your plate. We're so in the weeds of our day-to-day. And in order for success to happen, you have to pull yourself out of the day-to-day for you to set that strategic vision of the company, for you to set the plans for your company, for you to guide your team to move in the right direction, and to have something in place that says, here is our North Star, here is where we're heading, and here's how we're going to get there. So I encourage you to, wherever you are, listening to this episode, to plan for some time to pull yourself out of the business so that you can work on the business. And that is our jobs as CEOs every single day. And so I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you'll join me December 2nd through the 4th in Orlando, Florida for our incredible intensive workshop for 2023 planning. And I'll see you in person, and I'll be with you next week at CEO School. Thank you for tuning into today's show. If you loved it, leave us a review. We are so proud to bring you authentic conversations, game changer expert guests, and valuable content on and offline. The best compliment you can give us is by screenshotting today's show and tagging us on Instagram at CEO School and at Suneera Madhani. We are obsessed with swag, so don't be surprised if we want to send you some. Thanks for tuning into class today, and remember, nothing bad happens when women make more money.